either the Saison or the Hefeweizen, and they came back for another glass of beer. And that feels good only because that you don't have to be scared to come into these places and as a craft drinker, or because it's intimidating.
It's very intimidating.
Because a lot of these people that are, I'm not going to call them beer snobs, but it makes it difficult for some of these people.
Yeah.
And the people that are the beer snobs that try to get their friends to drink, they give them the most, here's my stout, but I drink Heinekens or Rolling Rocks. They might not like it. I've been surprised. I've had elderly that love IPAs, the dankest, smelliest IPA you can think of, and they said they love it. And I think it's funny. I think it's, like I said, taste is subjective, but for everybody. But it never gets old for me when somebody presents the challenge of, I only drink Bud, Stella, or, I only drink wine. It just works.
So here's a scenario.
Yeah.
I'm invited to a party.
Yes.
They're not craft beer drinkers, but I really, really want to show them what I love about craft beer. I really, really want to get them to listen to my podcast, and I get the same thing. Oh, that's great that you do that. I don't drink beer. So I'm going to a party.
Yes.
What do I bring with me?
Well, you bring me, first and foremost, because I am good at any party. No, fact.
Fact.
Yes. You know what? I would say this. I would say a lot of the Bud Lights, the Buds, the Coors, and all that stuff has very low bittering units, which means just how bitter the beer is on their tongue. Now you give them something that's got more oomph and more kick, you're not initially going to really like it at first because it's going to be very bitter. Even though I don't like today, I can drink the bitterest beer, and it would be, if that's even a word, bitterest.
It is now.
It is now. I just made it up.
Proclaimed.
A more bitter beer, I can accept that because that's what I'm used to. But these people have to kind of gradually get to that point. But normally I would say start off with a very light pale ale or a Hefeweizen. A blonde ale is a very good one, or a Kolsch. Those are, lighter in nature, still very good, but closer to the realm that they're used to. Now, as far as wine drinkers are concerned, they like a sweeter beer, perhaps. So try picking up something like a double pale ale that's not necessarily bitter, but has a little bit more sweetness on the back end, or a saison. A lot of them, saisons are fantastic. Another thing that I get with a lot of people. Sometimes it could be male or female, but mostly with the females. Do you like chocolate? Because we have a chocolate stout that we actually put chocolate in,
Yes,
and a lot of girls are like, I love chocolate, and who doesn't really?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you might like this beer. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I want you to try it, and I try to describe the beer, of how they're gonna, this is what it smells like. This is what we put in it. This is what it might taste like. So they're already tasting the beer before they even taste it. You know what I mean? So I'm putting that descriptive terminology in their brain so they can start to process it, to know what to kind of expect so they're not caught off guard. And the second thing that they'll do is they'll smell it, and then they'll taste it again before that way without even tasting it. So they'll already have a good idea and not be so thrown off guard when they, it's rather than just say, here, drink this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a little bit easier that way.
Easier introduction.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like I said, I would start off with like half saisons, Kolsch's, blondes, stuff like that. Maybe a double pale ale if it's a little bit, if they want a little bit more oomph. But as far as stay away from the IPAs, I mean, you could do whatever you want. And there might be that there's a chosen few that would be like, wow, I love this, and they didn't even know it. But normally you kind of want to ease into some of those things, especially with the buds and the Bud drinkers.
You mentioned the IBUs. One thing I don't know is, even playing around with beer for a while, what is a high IBU?
Your taste buds can't really register over anything over 100. But that determines how bitter your beer is. When you make beer, in the beginning of the boiling process, you add hops. Your first hop addition is how bitter your beer is going to be compared to your grain bill. It's all done by math, and there's some programs out there that does it for you, so it can tell you how bitter pretty much your beer is going to be. The late additions are for flavor and aroma qualities. So that's kind of what bittering units. So if you walk into a a nano brewery such as this one or Earth Eagle or Hidden Cove or any of these nano breweries, they more than likely will have the bittering units listed for you. And people are smart. I've had people come in here that I didn't even talk to about bittering units saying, "Nope, that has 60 bittering units in there, so I wouldn't like that one." So they already caught on, which is nice because people want to know what they're drinking and what they like and what they don't. Yeah, that's kind of what the bittering units are in kind of a nutshell for the most part.
Very interesting. See, that was well. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope I described everything appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah, I have another
yes.
vocabulary question for you, though.
Oh.
Nano versus micro.
Okay, so this is going to be a homework project for you because I don't know the numbers off my head. But how many barrels you produce at your brewery determines on what size you are.
Okay.
Macro, you have to brew an ungodly amount of I can't throw the numbers off the top of my head. But nanos are under a certain amount from micros. Like micros would be like Smutty Nose, I would imagine. And Sam Adams is still considered a micro. Although a lot of people would contend that because they produce on a massive amount of beer. But those are the numbers that you would look for. How many gallons of beer are they producing or barrels?
Sounds almost like a bell curve. There's like few nanos, few real macros, and then a lot that fall under.
Yeah,
micro.
Typically nanos are starting out breweries. They're the tasting rooms. They're brewing a low amount of beers. They usually some of them start anywhere between a barrel up to 3 barrels to 5, and so forth. But the next progression would be going to micro, kind of like the Sam Adams, the Smutties of New England. So, and then from there, then you got the macros. So,
I don't think anybody really wants to be a macro.
it's a lot of work. I can only imagine. I mean, you go to some of these facilities. I think Smutty Nose just had theirs up for. They just built their new one not too long ago. It's huge, and it's amazing. So. It's a lot to manage, and it's a lot to. I mean, you're massive at that point. The operation is just, I can't comprehend it as far as, and I just serve beer, and I used to be the assistant brewer, so I can't even imagine doing that. Never mind even going to micro. I mean, geez, never mind that either. So I mean, this is a nice little realm to be in as far as it's private, it's intimate with the customers. It's nice. You can do a lot of things with your beer that. Not necessarily, the micros or the macros can do. I mean, micros most certainly can do it, but, you can experiment a lot with when you're at this size.
And it seems like it gives you the opportunity to really get to know your customers.
Yep, and you can listen to them. You know what they like and what they don't like. Never mind just like looking at the sales of beer, but you can talk with your customers and kind of nip things, get a consensus of as they happen, rather than getting it lost down the line, being some sort of CEO of a big-time brewery that kind of lost touch with the customer. But, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Good times.
It is good times. It is good, though, because people they do need a point, like, you're entering into the nano and macro.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
What?
Nano, micro, macro.
Nano, micro, macro. So you're entering into the beer world, basically, essentially.
The brewery world, and then you.
Yeah. Well, you start off as
really
everybody
knowing
starts off
anything.
as a home brewer for the most part. I mean, you can go to school for brewing, and then but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll make great beer. You
Right.
know, I mean, yeah, I mean, if somebody that's never brewed beer decides, hey, I want to go to school to brew beer, it doesn't necessarily make the good beer. I mean,
Right.
a lot of these people are started off as home brewers for 10, 15 years before they even started a brewery.
Right.
It's kind of like cooking, like the old Italian moms cooking. They taste their sauce, and it's kind of like how it is here. I mean, that's what homebrewing is for the most part. So, and the bigger breweries are just nothing but big-time homebrewers for the most part on a larger scale.
And then you have people like me that wouldn't homebrew, and so I come here. So that's what I guess that's the point I was trying to make.
It's very addicting. Once you start, when you guys do your first beer, number one is patience.
We're screwed.
It's a lot of patience. Leave it alone. It's not infected.
Don't pick at it.
Well, what I mean. No, you know what I mean. That's.
Ew. Sorry.
There's just a lot of. You'll understand these things. It's and a lot of people that are listening that are homebrewers they'll understand as well. It's a very fun and addicting hobby.
I think this is going to sound different than I mean it, so give me a second. But I think drinking beer is also addicting. I don't mean like
It is actually.
Yes.
yes,
We need to insert a
but that's
1-800.
not what I mean. I mean that going out and finding those different beers to drink. Once you
There's a
step
whole
away
yeah.
from.
There's a whole social microcosm with that, as far as like you have on tap these applications that are like, let's check in your beer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's beers that are getting, as you call them, hype. Somewhere out in the Midwest, there's this beer that you have to try that you can't get it anywhere else. So you have people over here trying to do beer trades and beer mail to get that one beer.
Oh, wow.
People grow their cellars of like, there's that whole scene of bourbon stouts. To age them, to do all that. I mean, there's a huge thing with these. So yes, there are certain things that are addicting, as far as when it comes to the like I said, that society built in with all those things. So it's fun, but again, you have to be careful and not to drink in excess. Obviously, that's the other
not-
addicting part.
Right, that's not the middle.
Right,
part of
you
it.
always be
Not
responsible
trying
with it.
to- Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, craft is it's a lot different. I prefer it only because I don't drink as much when I drink craft beer. Because it's number
Yeah.
one, it's I enjoyed like drinking the taste. Like Bud, had that commercial where they made fun of people that smelt it and did a little, the people with the mustaches and all that. They portrayed like these hipster group of people. But yeah,
But that's part of the fun. It is. It is like smelling it and really enjoying it. And I think you're absolutely right.
right.
So you bring that starter pack, you explain it to your friends, what it's going to smell like, what they're going to get out of it.
Yep.
They try it, and they're like, this is
I
nice.
don't hate this.
I don't hate this. And then so the next time you just bring another 6-pack, and pretty soon when you go there, the good
Right.
beer's waiting for you.
True.
Right.
And you know what? And if they don't drink it, that's more for you to take home.
True. Yeah.
Yes. Good point.
I thought so.
Good
point.
point.
Yeah.
I'm writing that note.
You should
down.
write that.
So I think the real question is to get your friends to drink the micro, or just pretend you're going to get the friends to drink the micro.
But it's unless, you have some of those people that are like, I only drink Rolling Rock. I'm going to pick on Rolling Rock. No offense to them, but sometimes you just can't win. My uncle hates a lot of the craft beer, but he'll try it. So I don't think getting them to try it's going to be the issue. It's going to be finding
the right
the
fit.
beer that's going to start them on it.
Right.
So, and it's a trial and error process sometimes. Yeah, if they don't like coffee, you're not going to give them a stout because it's got some roasted malts and darker malts in there. It's going to have the appearance of, not the appearance, but the taste of coffee.
Right.
If they don't like lemon flavors, they hate lemons, they're not going to enjoy some of these beers.
They are a lemon.
You know what I mean? Like some saisons that's made with lemon peel, or like the hefts. To me, like I said, taste is subjective. It's going to be different for me as it is to you. So when I taste lemon, might taste something different to you as far as citrusy. So, but yeah, I don't think getting them to try the beer is going to be a problem. Getting them the right one for them, and you'd be a better judge of that. And that's why you always ask the question, what kind of beer normally do you like to drink? What interests you, or what so that way you're not going to give them something that they would absolutely hate to death.
And my mom took a while to get into beer. I gave her a lot of different things, and she played along because I was like, Mom! And she's like, I don't really like beer, but I love you. And then finally, blueberry beers.
Why not?
I don't know what it is. Some of them she doesn't like.
Some
but
people say what they want about fruit-flavored beers. Bud did it. They crapped on it, and guess what they did? They bought a brewery that makes a melon beer or whatever the heck it was, a kiwi beer. As a matter of fact, they did it at the same time that commercial came out.
Oh,
I swear to God.
they are crazy then.
Well,
What's that equals to?
well,
No, I'm
they're
just kidding.
they're losing money on a market that used to be all them. And take nothing away from those breweries, they make a very hard beer. Lagers are not easy to make, especially for these smaller breweries.
yeah.
So a lot of credits go to them with those old recipes, but that's it was cheap and effective, and they started a lot of stuff. Now we're having stuff that's got flavor, more time and love spent to it to give it the flavors that they have. Isn't that touching?
It
I
is
just made that.
touching.
I just came up with that.
I think that was nice. I think that's what people enjoy, though,
just
because
flowed right out of me.